Goa Santos has lived in the United States for 3 years. She's been raising her children on her own since January, after her husband was deported.
Porque yo pensé que me iba a quedar más tiempo aquí en este país.
She tells me she wanted to stay in the country longer and have better education for her kids. Goa Santos says ICE agents contacted her over the phone and gave her an option to either be detained or self-deport. She believes leaving is the best choice for her family.
Porque a mí no me gustaría ver que a mis hijos.
She says, I don't want my kids to see someone come into the house with a gun or have them or her be handcuffed. Goa Santos plans to make the most of her last few days she has here. She still says she has plenty to be grateful for. She's thankful to God, for her kids, and family. I asked her what she'll miss most about being here in the U.S.
Las personas.
The people, she tells me. She's grateful for the kind people she's met and the calmness that Tucson's brought her.
I know I've been talking about immigration a lot lately on this channel, but the more it's like I fell into a rabbit hole. The more I look into it, the more irate I become. Like the more angry I get over this stuff. Like, how do we allow people to use and abuse our system like this with no accountability? There's a political benefit for the Democratic Party. That's why they fight so hard to preserve illegal immigration. Right? There was a poll that came out, an internal poll amongst Democrats, that they're realizing that they're turning away. The Democrats have stopped becoming the party of the working class. If you look through the history of the Democratic Party and the labor unions used to be like a mob, like a gang almost, the way they were on the border. They used to hover the borders of California, the California-Mexico border. And any illegal they see over there, they will attack them. That's the history of the Democratic Party when they used to be the party of the walkers. Now they're the party of illegals. And through their actions, they show you, like, don't believe their words. Look at their actions. Hey, we want to pass a resolution where we require voter ID for people to vote. Democrats unanimously vote no against that. Oh, okay. Hey, we want to put a form where only American citizens will be counted as a census, the census which determines the amount of seats each state gets. That. We only want to count American citizens. How Democrats vote? Unanimously, no again. Wow. Oh, okay. You stop us from doing that? Huh. Interesting. And it just goes to show how much of a political benefit they have, right? You saw from the intro, that was a lady, after her husband got deported in January, she spent her last Thanksgiving here before she self-deport. And I think that's something that needs to be tracked. Because show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. If you incentivize people to use and abuse you, they'll do it. And look at this lady's been living here illegally for 3 years. 3 years. Chilling. I like the people. Right? But now she can't gain anything. She didn't like us enough, I guess. She didn't like us enough to actually respect our country, respect our laws, and come here the right way. No, we have to threaten her to leave. Make that make sense. Hey, we're going to deport you by your home country because Trump made the claim already. Hey, if we deport you, if we detain you, any path to come back here legally is gone. So she's like, nah, I don't want that. Let me get myself out of here. Like, make it make sense. Some of these illegals, they're only staying in this country because they're getting welfare benefits, they're getting social services from the system. And the minute Trump tied that stuff up or made it harder for them to get these stuff, they're ready to go back home. Oh, I'm only staying here because you guys pay for me to be here. Oh, how cute. Get out. And this is the kind of stuff I'm telling you guys, it radicalizes. This is that type of stuff that will if I was a immigration hawk before, I'm even more now. You have a Colombian woman here who was granted U.S. citizenship and bragged on a podcast that she's loyal only to Colombia. Has sparked massive calls for the U.S. government to strip her and other immigrants like her of their citizenship and send them back where they belong. Crazy work. Imagine admitting this in 4K. 4K that you lied under oath. And here's a guy, it seems like he's a legal expert. This is a great example of citizenship fraud, and we'll discuss in my next stream how she can be deported legally. And Democrats will be, oh my God, Trump is stripping Americans. But if you give it the full context, many Americans are going to sit back and go, yeah, that makes sense. If you took an oath, which is required for you to be considered an American citizen, and you lied under oath, technically it resolves your citizenship null and void. common sense. But it seems like the left has lost that for their own political power. And they have the goal to call MAGA a cult. But I digress. I want to show you more clips because here's a clip of states like New York. Like I'm building the case to show you that Democrats are politically incentivized in every way to make excuses for allowing these people to break our country, for allowing these people to use up our resources and take advantage of our system. This is why I say America's a socialist country for illegals. Illegals don't pay a single dime to the taxpayer pot, but they extract a lot of resources from it, and Democrats sit there and let it happen, using social services as a bribe for political power. That's what the Democrats have done to our system. And no one should be surprised why they're crying over mass deportation.
Or of justice. We're seeing that these criminal illegal aliens are exiting the jails and going back onto New York or Chicago or these other sanctuary streets to re-perpetuate their crimes. Today, in New York City's jails are 7,169 criminal illegal aliens. We're talking about hundreds of murderers, hundreds of sexual predators, drug traffickers, the worst of the worst. Dan Goldman and these other sanctuary city politicians, they should agree to hand over those individuals, honor those detainers, and then we won't have to flood the zone with our ICE law enforcement. We won't have to put those men and women on the ground because we will get these vicious criminals out of New York City's jails.
If you've been watching my videos lately today, I kind of touched upon this before of how the liberals like to dishonestly frame things to try to garner sympathy and take advantage of people not knowing the full story. College students deported during trip home for Thanksgiving. And then when you get the full context, hey, the family came here in 2023, applied for asylum, were denied, did not appeal the decision, stayed in the U.S. illegally. Daughter was allowed to grow up here for what? 12 years? So from 7 all the way to 29 years old. Sorry. I had too much years. 19 years old. Got caught. Hey, you're here illegally. Out you go. Return to your home country now. Whose fault is that? Is that ICE's fault for doing their job? Or is that the parents' fault for breaking the law in the first place and causing a domino effect? End of the day, if I embezzled money and my kids got used to a certain lifestyle, a millionaire lifestyle, right? And the feds catch me and say, yo, Kenny, we got you on RICO charges, and they confiscate all the money, my child is not entitled to ill-gotten goods. He's not entitled to a rich lifestyle because he got used to that rich lifestyle for 12 years, and now he has to be a brokey like he was supposed to be, right? No one's going to be crying for him. They're going to be like, hey, look, your parents got the money ill-gottenly, and it got taken away. That you wasn't supposed to experience that lifestyle because your father scammed to get it. It's the same thing here. You wasn't supposed to experience this lifestyle here in America, pretending to be an American citizen when you were here illegally. And now someone's in administration is actually willing to actually follow and enforce the law, and you're a casualty of that. And liberals want to sit here and cry foul. They want to say Portocito for her. No. Then this is what I'm talking about, the disrespect of the country. And this is the type of thing that I said liberals enable. As you saw from the intro, and that's all from the segment. You saw what lengths these liberals are going through to protect illegals that have committed extra crimes. After coming to this country illegally, they committed more crimes, and they're holding them up in liberal jails to prevent them from being deported back to their home country. Make it make sense. Why, liberals? Like, come on, give me a good reason. You're party over country. You're not doing this for the benefit of the country. You're doing this benefit for your political power, for your political party, because you want your party in charge of everything. And you see illegals as a pathway towards that. This is why I love to push multiculturalism. Multiculturalism is crap. We see how divisive the country is. You got white Americans going against black Americans feeling entitled. They feel they got a chip on their shoulder, right? Everything's racism, right? You got immigrants coming over here, legal, illegal, not caring about this country, treating this country like it's nothing, treating this country like it's not a country, it's not a sovereign country. No respect for our culture. Americans don't have a culture. Oh, really? Ask England what happened July 4th. Oh, Americans don't have a culture. Americans have a culture of individualism. Americans have a culture of, hey, look, live, let live. Don't tread on me. Being the youngest country in history, and we became the fastest rising power in the world. But Americans don't have a culture. Americans don't have history that they can be proud of. Make it make sense. The fastest to end slavery in our country compared to all the other nations. All these other nations been around thousands of years. Been perpetrating the sin of slavery. And America ended it within what? Half its life. In the first 100 years, we dealt with it. Craziness. Trendsetter. The youngest country in the world. And we're the major superpower. Countries that have been around thousands of years. But we're the ones that set the trend of ending slavery. But we don't have a culture. All you third world countries want to come here. At least when my parents came here, they respect the country enough to learn the language. People can say a lot about my immigrant parents, but my immigrant parents know English. They read and write English. They taught me English. Asians know this. This is why the left gets so mad at Asians, because Asians are called the model minority for a reason. Because Asians, they grow up in a culture where discipline is virtue number one. They have enough respect for this country that, oh yeah, we're gonna speak the language. This is their country, right? Instead of giving you a Chinese name, we're gonna call you Bill, Tim. I'm sorry I called the Asian by their first name, right? Assimilate, adapt. But no, you other groups, no, Somalians, they don't want to come. Oh no, we want to bring Sharia law here. Oh, okay, we'll see how that goes. You see what's going on with London. You see what's going on in France. You see what's going on across Europe. This is a warning. Yo, tighten up. People in political power, you need to respect the intelligence of your country. They know what y'all doing. Hey, you trying to replace us, huh? Now you got liberals crying about replacement theory. How we have come full circle, huh? Now they understand, right? And this is the funny part. Democrats were the one who were beating their chest talking about demographics equals destiny. They're the ones doing that. Now it's working the opposite. They're still making the same argument. Oh, no one said that. Oh, this is a great replacement theory. Okay, great replacement theory is a myth. Okay, we'll just deport a bunch of brown people. Oh no! Now they want to cry. Now they want to give you sob stories. And I think the more these stories come out, the more these migrants beat their chest talking about, seeming like they're untouchable, pretending that they're untouchable because they're in some blue city, blue state, the more I believe sways the odds in Trump's favor with mass deportation. People are going to go, yeah, I think I'm in support of mass deportation now, regardless of criminality, because of stuff like this. No, you have to respect. I have to respect my laws. I have to file my taxes, right? On Caleb Hammer's show, right? I've been talking about Caleb Hammer a lot, the finance YouTuber. He had a clip that went viral of illegal immigrants bragging about how they've been evading taxes. You boastful people, boastful. But I digress. I want to play another segment of from the press secretary, because they're going to debate it out with a reporter who's trying to feed America this sob story, because this is the go-to that liberals always go to when they want to feed you a sob story, try to use your empathy and your sympathy to allow you to do things that goes against your own best interest. But without further ado, let's get into the clip.
During your topper, you said, and I quote, "Leaders also have a duty to preserve the integrity and character of our nation's national identity." Can you explain identity? Can you explain what you mean by our nation's national identity and integrity and character, and how would refugees, people coming from war-torn places who are seeking a safe haven in America, like many of our forebears in this room, not add to our nation's integrity and character of our national identity?
I'll tell you what does not add to our nation's character and integrity is refugees who come here under the alleged plight of asylum and fleeing persecution, and then come to the United States to abuse our system and rip off American taxpayers. And as I pointed out, the New York Times, to their credit...
It's a scam. You're coming here under false pretenses. Right? How you feel when someone scammed you? If someone scammed you out of some money, how would you feel about that? That's how I feel about immigration. A lot of people are in here off of false pretexts. And then they cash in on those false pretexts, like the Somalians in Minnesota who got caught and wrapped up in that fraud ring that Tim Walz allegedly turned a blind eye to. That's the kind of stuff that pisses Americans off. Oh, you want to scam me, or you want to take advantage of me? Everyone around the world knows how Americans are. Y'all should, like, if you're not an American, you may or may not, you may be aware of what Americans do differently, right? There's a video on France that perfectly encapsulate how Americans act when you wrong them, right? One of these European pickpocketers pickpocketed an American woman, and she grabbed that girl by the ponytail and she didn't let go until the authorities came. And the authorities was telling her, "Yo, chill, it's just your wallet." And she's looking at them crazy, like, you just let people take advantage of you. The worst thing you could let an American know is that they are being taken advantage of. That's the worst thing you could tell an American, because then you get a Trump. Oh yeah, you think we're too nice? Okay, let's put Trump back in. Oh, the Europeans appalled. We don't care. You got, hey, play with it if you want to. That's a very American thing. And then these same immigrants will come over here, illegals specifically, trying to bash our country and say we don't have a culture. We don't have a culture. You know how our Americans act. We're boastful, right? We too prideful, some would call us. Arrogant. But it's hard not being arrogant when you find out your country is pretty much holding the entire world together. The entire world is relying on your money. The entire world is relying on the taxpayer money of the American citizen. It's hard not to be arrogant when you find this information out. Hard. Americans busting their ass 40 hours plus a day so Ireland and all these other European countries can enjoy 32-hour work weeks. Low productivity. Rip us off on tariffs to fund their social programs. Brag about how their healthcare is better than our healthcare, but then you found out pharmaceutical companies are charging Americans 2 times more on drug prices compared to their European counterparts to subsidize their cheap healthcare. You'll be arrogant too if you find that out. That when these countries go to war, Europe can't do nothing without the U.S. Make it make sense. But you want to get mad at us for being arrogant. How about you humble us and take care of yourself? How about you humble us by not taking our money? That's how you humble Americans. Hey, we don't need your foreign aid. Oh, that's how you humble Americans. Not complaining online about Americans' attitudes and attributes. And at the same time, you want to immigrate over here and take advantage of our social programs and not add to the system. That's something I don't want to, I have zero tolerance for. But I'm done with my rant. Let's finish up the video.
It was about 6 months too late, but they did write about how Somali immigrants in Minnesota have been ripping off American taxpayers. In fact, 86 people have been charged in a rampant and widespread fraud scheme spanning multiple programs in Minnesota. Of those 86, 78 of those people are Somali, 91% of them charged. So far, 59 of those people have been convicted for their roles in fraud plots that have stolen $1 billion from taxpayers.
But what's the story the liberals like to feed you? Oh my God, they're here for a better life. If you're here for a better life, you wouldn't be complaining about what America give. If America give you prepackaged food like we do in hurricanes and rescues, you don't turn it away and say, "Oh, I'm too good for that. I want to eat at McDonald's. I want to eat at some fancy restaurant. Give me a $15,000 stipend for food stamps." No, you don't do that. You'll be grateful for the food. You'll be grateful for the shelter that has been provided for you because you're actually fleeing from something, not using it as an excuse. Getting prepaid phones and all this stuff, flying around across the state. handing people paper. You can't even speak a lick of the language. Here's a paper. Okay, you're supposed to be on this flight. All on the taxpayer dime. Right? But then when Republicans say, oh, yeah, so Democrats are running on demographics equals destiny. Oh, that's great. That's great replacement theory talk. This is what gets me mad, right? Because the liberals will sit here and pretend that, oh, this is white supremacy talking points, but the people most vulnerable to mass migrations are minorities, minority descended Americans. If you're an Asian American, mass migration hurts you the most. African American hurts you the most. It hurts white Americans the least. They're the biggest population, 65% of the population. If you immigrate 50 million people, it wouldn't even threaten white America's voting power, but it will threaten Black America's, Hispanic America's, Asian America. It will threaten your voting power. It will displace you in our politics. And somehow the Democrats has convinced you to go along with it, right? Because all that matters is as long as the Democrats win. Not knowing that they're also screwing you over in the long term. And then Black people will get mad. Oh, the Democrats don't fight for our votes anymore. Yeah, because your vote became irrelevant the moment enough migrants came into the country. The most relevant the Black vote has been in the 1960s when we had drastically less immigrants in this country. Right? But now more, you got displaced. Your voting power got displaced. Now, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party are fighting for the Hispanic vote. Because they're the only voters that are kind of like this politically. And I'm like, yeah, that could have been the Black community, but you decide to abort your kids disproportionately. And here we are now. Hey, actions have consequences. When your women disproportionately abort more babies than other groups of people, how you 13% of the population, how are you half of 13% of the population, Black women, and you're responsible for 40% of abortions year over year over year, and you don't think you'll have a negative consequence to your political power? And then we're complaining about Somalians. Oh, they're taking over whole districts. Oh, how they got a Somalian like Ilhan Omar representing a district. I wonder why. I wonder how. And this is the game. This is why a lot of people are equating this mass immigration stuff as an invasion. This is why many people want the border to be closed for a decade at least. At least. This is why people are more in favor of restricted immigration. Because it's obvious to see the game here. You want to displace Americans so you're not tied to Americans. You don't have to worry about America's interest. So you can play these games of party over country. Because with party over country, all you have to do is get enough illegals, screw what the Chicagoans want, bring more illegals, make yourself a sanctuary city. Don't let Chicagoans vote on the resolution. Let residents vote in your local elections. And you just bribe the illegals to vote your way, and you stay in power, regardless of what the American natives want. Checkmate. And if you do that enough times, across enough states, enough cities, eventually you'll take over the country without having to listen to what the Americans want. London is the future of America if open borders was allowed to continue for another decade. That's the truth. And the funny part is, and here's the truth, and I'll end it off here. We're always that close. We're always that close. Well, London is a warning. All right, what's going on in Europe is a warning to Americans. And we got a little taste of it. A taste. Because we're such a big country. But give it enough years, allowing that to happen, and we can easily become Europe. Mark my words. Hey, that's my warning. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comments section below. You'd be interested to hear what you have to say. Do you think I'm too restrictive with the immigration view? Do you think that I'm too negative on it? Or you agree with me and say, yeah, we should be restrictive on immigration right now because of the amount of resources, the amount of fraud, amount of abuse that the immigration system has been allowed to go rampant unchecked. And we need to do a self-audit before we allow more immigrants to come into this country. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share the video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.